Intangible cultural heritage is one of the components of cultural heritage. It occupies an important place in the overall cultural development. Intangible cultural heritage also has a very important historical, cultural, and spiritual value. Today we will learn about the intangible cultural heritage of Liupao tea making techniques. Let's first understand the definition of intangible cultural heritage. According to the definition in the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage adopted by UNESCO, intangible cultural heritage refers to the practices, performances, expressions, knowledge systems, and skills, as well as their associated instruments, objects, artifacts, and cultural spaces that are recognized by groups, communities, and in some cases, individuals as part of their cultural heritage. This intangible cultural heritage, which has been handed down from generation to generation, is consistently innovated by groups and communities as their environments, interrelationships with the natural world, and historical conditions change while giving them a sense of identity and history themselves, thus promoting cultural diversity and stimulating human creativity. Intangible cultural heritage mainly includes oral traditions and expressions, performing arts, social customs, etiquette, festivals, knowledge and practice about nature and the universe, traditional handicraft skills. Intangible cultural heritage is transmitted orally or through movement by human beings. Folk cultural heritage with national historical accumulation and wide outstanding representation. It was once known as a living fossil of history and culture, a backdrop of national memory. The most important characteristic of intangible cultural heritage is that it is not separated from the special way of life and production of nation, and is a living manifestation of the nation's personality and aesthetic habits. It relies on human beings themselves and uses sound images and techniques as means of expression, and is perpetuated by word of mouth as a cultural chain, the most vulnerable part of living culture and its traditions. Therefore, the transmission of intangible cultural heritage is particularly important for the transmission of human beings. On December 22, 2005, the State Council issued a notice on strengthening the protection of cultural heritage, deciding that from 2006, the second Saturday of June each year will be China's Cultural Heritage Day. Till now, we already have a Cultural Heritage Day, a cultural heritage symbol, and a public service song for cultural heritage protection. It will play a very positive role in promoting the awareness of cultural heritage protection among all people. Up to now, there are Kungfu and Kungju in China, Beijing Opera, Chinese Guqin art, Xinjiang Uyghur Mukam art, Chinese calligraphy, Chinese seal engraving, and other 42 items include the World Intangible Cultural Heritage List. The protection of the intangible cultural heritage is a cause that is beneficiary in the present day and in the future. The protection of intangible cultural heritage requires the attention of the whole society and the attention of all human beings. In China, the party and the government attach great importance to the protection of intangible cultural heritage, including county, city, provincial, and national intangible cultural heritage 4 levels. Liupao tea is a famous Chinese tea with a long history of over 1,500 years. Liupao tea production technique are unique, rich in scientific and technological genes, is an extremely valuable historical and cultural heritage. On December 10, 2007, Wuzhou City brought Liupao tea production techniques into the first batch of municipal intangible cultural heritage projects. On November 10, 2008, the People's Government of Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, on the announcement of the second batch of Autonomous Region Level Intangible Cultural Heritage List and the first batch of Autonomous Region Intangible Cultural Heritage Extended Project List. Liupao tea production techniques included in the second batch of Autonomous Regions Intangible Cultural Heritage List. On November 11, 2014, the State Council issued a notice on the announcement of the fourth batch of the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Representative Project. Liupao tea production techniques were included in the second batch of Autonomous Regions' Intangible Cultural Heritage list. The local departments actively explored and created a county, city, provincial autonomous region to a national non-hereditary inheritors of Liupao tea making skills. Constructed 4 levels of non-traditional skills inheritance culture at the county, city, provincial, and national levels. On May 8, 2018, according to the article, Notice of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism on the announcement of the representative inheritors of the 5th batch of the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Projects by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism in accordance with the article Culture and Tourism Non-Literacy Error No. 8. Wei Jie-kun became a representative inheritor of the National Intangible Cultural Heritage List, Black Tea Production Techniques. Today, we learn about the intangible cultural heritage and the process of applying for the inscription of the Liupao tea making technique. It can be said that the cultural of intangible cultural heritage techniques at the county, city, provincial, and national levels of Liupao tea is an important connotation of Liupao tea culture in the new era. Finally, please think about the connotation of the new era of Liupao tea culture.